Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nyedis Anarchy Series. I'm your host Adam, CIO and co-founder of Nyedis, and today we're going to talk about an article that came out in the New York Times that's titled, "The Worst Part of Wall Street Career May Be Coming to an End." And what they're talking about is how AI is going to be replacing up to 3/4 of the jobs on Wall Street. Now, this is what I've been talking about now for weeks, months. AI is amazing. Yes, it's great. But the bigger thing is AI is going to be replacing jobs. And everyone's like, oh, it's not there yet. It's like, okay, you just haven't figured out how AI works. So this article really jumps into the numbers that I've been talking about and saying what's going to be happening. And it also talks about a lot of the big financial institutions out of Manhattan that are already taking massive steps to do this. So the article is really, really, really good. I recommend it. I don't recommend too much stuff from the New York Times very often. This is one of them. Also, the author of the article is Rob Copeland, so just want to give a shout out to him because he did such a great work with all the research and investigation into all these different firms, not just one and then making some clickbait article, right? So one of the biggest ones I wanted to point out, though, was Goldman Sachs. This was the one that I thought was the craziest. So Goldman Sachs says that they've now repositioned 1,000 engineers to work solely on AI development and how to incorporate it throughout all of Goldman Sachs enterprise. 1,000. Think about the largest identity access manager project that you've ever been on. I think the biggest one for me was with healthcare.gov. We had about 80 different engineers to implement that thing, right? Well, I was brought in to fix it. I was not part of the breaking part. But 80 people, that was a huge project. 80. We're talking about 1,000 for one company. That just speaks volumes to me. They're not doubling down. They're not going all in. They're racing in desperation towards the best possible system and have AI encompass everything within the organization. 1,000 people. Just think about that. That's an entire building. And that's just Goldman Sachs. And they're a financial company. They're not a tech firm. So the fact that they're putting that many people into AI and what they're going to do that's huge. So Accenture came out and said that they expect AI to replace 3/4 of all working hours within the banking industry and the finance industry. So that's huge. So what they're saying is that 3/4 of people's time in the finance industry can all be replaced by AI. I'm not going to say that's going to replace 3/4 of the population that they are employing, but it's going to be a lot for sure. Because if you can reduce the amount of hours someone needs to work by 75%, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to get rid of a bunch of workforce because you don't need them, or you're going to say, hey, now that you guys can do this, that means I expect you to do 4 times this amount of work in one day. So we'll see how that goes. Most of the time, they kind of go for the cost savings way, which is, hey, I can get rid of half my workforce. So we'll see what happens. But if Accenture is estimating that 3/4 of the workforce man hours are going to be completely wiped out from AI, that's a huge number that people should be looking at. So one of the big commonalities across all the different financial institutions is that this is going to be the key indicator to get rid of all their junior staff for all the junior positions that they have out there. So this is how we all started. Even me, my first job when I got out of college was I was considered a data security analyst. I think it was my position. I was a data entry person. They gave me stacks of paper and I typed it all into a mainframe and created user accounts. It was really boring. I automated it and I just never told anyone, and therefore my job became super simple, just be able to push a button every day. But those are the jobs that they're saying are going to be completely wiped out first, all these junior level positions. And most of these positions have high turnover anyway because they're boring. It's very repetitive tasks, a lot of data crunching, reading tons of documentation, reading tons of reports and compiling information. And that's what AI does best. So a lot of these positions are going to be wiped out. Now, what's interesting, though, that I didn't see much written about in this article is that these entry-level positions are kind of like your hazing or apprenticeship into the real positions of tech, right? Like you spend the years doing all this crappy workload, but that's how you kind of learn the ropes. And then from there, you build up the experience while doing all this boring stuff to get up there. So because of that, if we eliminate all these junior positions, then the medium level and senior level positions, we're not really going to have that graduate class getting in there, right? Because who's going to be doing those junior level positions? There really aren't going to be too many there. So I think that's going to be a weird gap in the workforce, and I'm not really sure how that's going to work out, but it's definitely going to be something interesting to see how it happens. So both Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley have also come out to say that because of AI and where they're going with it, that it's going to reduce the amount of people they hire by 2/3. that's another thing. So we're not just talking about replacing existing jobs, but also the removal of hiring new people for new positions. And they're already saying, yep, this is going to eliminate the need of 2/3 of the jobs that we would normally be hiring for. But they also say, oh, but we still are going to have human oversight. That's a given. But the person that you need doing the human oversight is going to be one to many, right? You could probably have one person for 4 people you used to hire, and it could be one, probably a lot more technical person than it is a junior person. Talking about that whole, how are we going to get more technical people if we cut out that whole junior rung? So in addition to not hiring these people, the people that they are going to hire, they're not going to pay them as much because they don't have to, right? So this job used to be demanding and really irritating and hard to do, so it's hard to find people, or it was not just hard to find people, but hard to keep people. Well, now it's not going to be, so justification, we don't have to pay people as much. This is going to be a commonality that you're going to see everywhere. Jobs are going to be reduced, new hires are going to be reduced, the payment schedules are all going to go on, are going to be cut just like everything else, and we're going to see this across the board. So I keep getting back to this when it comes to AI. You either need to learn AI and get into the business, or you need to adopt it into whatever it is that you're currently doing and figure out how AI can augment your job and make you a better person at whatever it is that you do, or make you a better company at whatever you do, like these guys are doing. 1,000 consultants, or not consultants, sorry, 1,000 people are being dedicated at Goldman Sachs alone just to figure out how AI is going to work for them. And this is every agency. They're all doing this. So they're definitely adopting. Or pivot. These data entry people, if you're like, hey, I want to be a data entry person, and that's the dream goal for me, well, you're probably not going to have a job anytime soon if that's your goal. So you're going to have to pivot. So you need to learn it, adopt it, or pivot. So we here at Nyedis are definitely adopting and learning. We're definitely not pivoting away. AI is going to be here and to stay. Actually, I'm going to show you something pretty cool. Hold on one second. So yesterday, I went out and I did a thing. So I went out and built myself a new rig. This is the first time I have built a PC in probably 20 years. And it was a lot of fun. But this whole thing was put together strictly for AI. So I've already have a bunch of models and stuff going on here, and you can see this thing is crazy. I mean, this is probably just me because I haven't built a machine in so long, but like, check this out. And yeah, this is the graphics card. That's insane. But this is the heat sink. This is insane. So this monster is going to build tons of models and run all kind of training and kind of like machine learning, deep think stuff. But we are fully running into the AI world. We think that AI is going to be a massive player in the identity management space. So one of the things that we're focusing a lot in the AI world is, I don't even know if my face is showing up in this or not, but one of the things that we're focusing on a lot is private AI model learning, right? So really what that comes down to is taking an existing previously trained model that has something like 70 billion bits in it, and what we want to do is fine tune those models with private data. So therefore we can go into a company and say, hey, look, what's all of your identity management practices and what's going on with there? We take all that information, we fine tune an existing pre-trained model with their information, and then with that, we can have a private, localized equivalent like of a chat GPT that's run internally within the enterprise. So now you have a private, secured, you own the model, it's all internal in your intranet or in your data center or whatever, and you don't need to go out and buy all these big crazy machines. The problem is when you do things like Google Colab and stuff, where it's services that you can do all this stuff online and even bigger, beefier GPUs than this thing, but they only run for like 24 hours or 48 hours and then they automatically turn off. It's a pain and it's expensive. So if you're gonna do a lot of training and a lot of like testing, you need something crazy like this, and that's what we're doing. We're going crazy in the AI space. So get used to AI because it's coming full bore, and I'm super excited about it.